Hello, check, check. Can everybody hear me? Chat, anybody in chat? Am I coming through? I should be coming through. Oh, thank you, thank you. Okay, hello everyone. Happy Friday. I hope everybody is doing well. Today I am going to be showing you all the environment art workflow that we used to create the Mecha Hangar level that we targeted to finish in about a week, and how Aura AI Assistant was leveraged along the way to help us quickly get to a solid first art pass. I'll quickly go over the high level workflow of what we did to get to where it is now. And then the bulk of the stream is going to be about me. We have this one room here that's still in blockout stage. The goal here is to have this at a first pass art level, like the rest of the level, so that I can demonstrate sort of the steps we took, the process, and yeah, hopefully we have a cool looking little periphery window room here by the end of the stream. But before we get started, and like whether you're a seasoned environment artist or you're just getting into game development, I think the stream will be about blending solid art fundamentals with the latest AI tools to build game worlds faster. So hopefully there's enough info here that's going to be valuable for you all. So yeah, about myself. Who am I? Who are you? My name is Robert Espinoza. I've been a game developer for 20 plus years. Previously worked on multiple AAA titles, including a few Call of Duties. If you're old enough, some Tony Hawk Pro Skater. Anybody played Tony Hawk Pro Skater? Guitar Hero. And then also a few VR games, including Zenith. Hopefully you all know Zenith. But yeah, that I have some experience in the game development world. And I want to make it clear, I'm not a UE expert. Unreal Engine, I know it. I'm not an expert in it. I know many other proprietary engines and Unity. So this is, I think, a great example of how you can leverage Aura to even help you get through the density of Unreal Engine and help you just learn how to do certain things. So yeah, I'll be pinging Aura for some questions. And also, if you have any tips for Unreal as we're moving along, you see me doing something that could be done a lot faster and easier, please chime in and let me know, because I would love to learn. So I do want to fly through the level, but before we get into that, I want to share sort of the process that we take, right? I'm gonna just show you. We always start with reference. Like, reference is key here. Putting together a document, in this case, an art scope document. Shout out to Carlo, our art director, who helped me put this together. Super key to have a reference document that kind of gives you a baseline piece of key art, and also outlines our goals, what we're trying to build, what we're not, the core concepts of the steps that we're going to take. Every time we build a level, we go through the phase of block out, zoning, figuring out what are the zones, the themes, lighting, VFX process, art. We build out a super high level roadmap, time it out, and then we start putting together like a reference sheet of just inspirational images, what we're trying to build, just to help us basically blur like not be in the clouds. When I'm trying to build something, I don't want to be questioning things. I want to have clear reference in front of me that I can immediately look at and be like, yeah, this is super inspirational. Like this shot right here, with the hangar, you see the mecha in the background, super inspirational for me for this level specifically. But yeah, you can look, like, quickly glancing through the document, you can see how Carlo put this together, describing detail, color, rooms, forklifts, all kinds of different things that immediately fill my brain with ideas on how to build what I'm going to try to build, especially when the timeline is super tight, right? You don't want to be coming up with the ideas on the fly. So yeah, this is just a glance into what a document is. You can put this together yourself. I highly recommend it. The other thing we do is we use Pinterest. Super old school, but it's very helpful. It's easy to make a Pinterest board, quickly gather a bunch of reference. All the stakeholders can look at the board. They can, add images, comment on images, make subboards for different parts for like lighting, VFX, operations, storage, engineering in this case. But yeah, I highly recommend. Pinterest is pretty good at this. I like to have a lot of reference, even though some of it might not be valuable. For me, it's very good to just glance at something and be like, oh yeah, look at that. There's a staircase, there's a character. Oh, look at the gantries here, how they are formed, what angles do they form. It's just, I not everybody works this way. For me personally, this is extremely valuable. So I recommend it. And yeah, so reference is king. And then trying to come up with the concept for this room. Initially, I wanted to make this some type of a generator room. The blockout itself was meant to be a generator room. You can imagine like these large sci-fi generators in a cold storage room where you see cold smoke and mood lighting. But I've pivoted from that and I want to make it a mecha part assembly room, which I think it's a lot cooler, would look better. And I already started a thread with Aura where I went through the process. I took some screenshots. You can see these two screenshots here. Let me make this a little bit bigger for you all. I took some screenshots of the room from this angle, literally just screen cap, pasted it into the chat, screen cap from the inside. I gave it two reference images, one of this arm assembly, one of a generator. And I basically asked Aura, hey, I want you to help me come up with some concepts and ideas for this room that I have that's in blockout phase. Please help me look at the reference, make me two concepts. And it made me these two concepts here, which this one right here was really striking to me. Seeing the mecha head there with all of these details look really cool, which was the driving force for me wanting to switch themes to this. And it also gave me another generator style room. This kind of looks like the Matrix, but it's some cool imagery, right off the bat. And from there, I gave it some more images that I found online and said, hey, you know what about we're gonna, instead of a generator room, let's focus on a mecha assembly room. So now we've decided that's what we're gonna do. And it started making me I asked for 3/4 view concepts so I can get a better idea of the space and how it's gonna fit. And so it made me this, and I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. Got some gantries, the color looks cool. It made these two. This one's pretty cool. But I wanted something a little bit more simplified and clean. In my head, I had a vision of like a clean room. So then we made a couple of sheets of just walls with some details. And some of these models I already generated in advance so that we can have them ready. But yeah, it made me this sheet. And then I said, well, let's take that sheet and iterate on that room. This is a little small to see, but it started creating some concepts that are more in line based on the reference I'm feeding it, and just kept pinging it back and forth. Eventually, we made this image of this mecha head, which I really liked. And I said, okay, hey, take a look at this head, and let's implement it in the room now with the clean reference of these panels. And we ended up with this piece of reference here. I think I have a better shot. I'll show a bigger picture right now. And to me, this was still a little bit dark. I wanted it to feel a little bit more like a clean white room. So then they made this one, and this was the one where I started to feel like we're headed in the right direction here. I like the clean paneling. It matches the art that I already pre-made. There's some nice contrast between the clean panels and the dark beams. And the central point of interest element is that mecha head that's in half-built stages of development. The cables, the hanging. I really like this image, right? So I said, cool, this is great, but can you make me one that's that doesn't have the head? Oh, actually, before I did that, I gave it an image of the actual factory that I built to say, hey, look, take a look at where I'm going. It's a little bit more industrial. Integrate some of those elements into it. So it did that. I gave it another image of that hangar that I already built. I said, hey, look at some of the line work. This is one of the elevators. I'm just feeding Aura more reference of what I already have so that the art style of the concept that it gives me is more in line to the assets that I'm thinking of making and that I already have. So at the end of the day, I asked it, hey, can you remove the head, make those two platforms go up like elevators, and let's just give me a clean key piece of art that I can have as my North Star concept piece that I'm going to target. So this is the one. This was it. I think I have a bigger. Yeah, here we go. So this is the one with the head. I asked it to remove those elements. And so this is our target here. So that's basically how you can use Aura and leverage it to develop a concept, feed it reference, just iterate back and forth until you get to the point that you are happy with the concept, right? Now that we have that, it was very clear to me what the target was. And yeah, I'm gonna get into building this. Before I do want to fly around this level. I'll try to do this quickly. The idea here is that you'll start the level in some type of an elevator. The first thing you will see is that room, right? So what we wanted to do is tease where am I? What is this level? Having the mecha head and half-built state inside of this room is a great like cookie crumb to tell you, oh, what is a mecha head? Whoa, where am I? Is this a mecha factory? Is this an assembly factory? You then come in, you hit a button, the door opens, and you come into the main warehouse where we slowly reveal the giant mecha that's back in the background. And then the idea here is that it's supposed to be a first-person shooter, right? There's going to be encounters here. You can see that we added cover objects, some crates, enemies will flood in. You'll have an encounter here. The main path is that you swing around here. You get this nice reveal, and then you see this like mecha arm. You can already see how the inspiration from Carlos' document. Let's go back to that document because I do want to show the correlation between that image that I pointed out. This one right here, right? This piece of reference here was very inspirational to help me come up with like an idea for this little platform where they're kind of in the middle of setting up this mecha arm. But yeah, at the end of the day, the path is you'll have encounters here. You fight some drones. You will take one of these elevators and then go up and then have long range encounters across some of these gantries, work your way. You get close to the mecha because it's a cool element, right? You want to walk by it. You'll be having a firefight. The ultimate goal here is that you'll eventually get to this operations room where you will enter and do a thing where you enter a passcode, put your palm, and then the mecha will activate. The hangar doors will open, sirens go off, smoke goes off. You know, the typical Call of Duty bombastic moment. But yeah, just wanted to show you all a little bit of what level art we're targeting here. And I do want to mention, so this was built with the combination of a Fab Store asset pack. Wait, I wrote down the name. It's in the comments, by the way, in the description. But I do want to shout out it's factory assets in the Fab. Actually, you know what? I have the page here. Let me just show you guys. It's this one here. It's a free pack. I highly recommend it. Shout out to Dennis Rotkovsky. Hopefully I'm not butchering your name. But yeah, fantastic pack. Highly recommend it. A great set of assets, and it's 100% free. So yeah, check it out. I used a mix of some of those Fab assets and generated assets from Aura. Aura is fantastic at giving you decent models that you can fill in. Sometimes they're even good enough to pass for a first art pass. And I'm just filling in the gaps with Aura, mixing and matching, and also, you know, kitbashing all of these pieces to build the space. So yeah, that's the factory. Let's get back to the main bulk of what this live stream is about. We have the block out of the room. We want to convert this into an mecha assembly room. We have our core concept. I already set up, I have a bunch of props that I already picked out and generated. Oh, here we go. So here is kind of like this. This is super important also, right? Like once you know what you're building, it's very important to kind of gather all of the pieces and lay them out in a clean way where you can easily, it's kind of like your grocery shopping cart per se. You kind of, you put them all out, you quickly glance at them. Do they all work well together? This is an easy way to see if the pieces are working well. I already pre-selected a bunch of these. These are all, well, not all of them. Most of this is Aura model generated. All of these, you can see here, these are the wall pieces that I showed earlier. Where's that reference image? Yeah, here we go. Right here, you can see that piece is that one. Some of these wall pieces, some of those. And then some of these are from the asset pack, like this giant door. A lot of these I already modified, scaled so that they all work well together. And the idea here is once you have your little shopping cart list. Oh, let me. Any questions so far? Nope. Chat's good. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Once you have your shopping cart list, you can just start building. I already sort of built this. I'm gonna show you guys how I start putting this together. So we're gonna take our block out geometry here. Let me just take a look at my notes. I want to make sure I'm not glossing over anything. Nope. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna take this block out. I am going to, let's see here where I try to organize it this morning. I'm just gonna hide it, or should we nuke it? Now let's keep it for now. I'm just gonna hide it, and I'm gonna just go through the process of how I would start to build this. Let's just start by taking this floor here. We're gonna take a copy of it and just kind of lay it in front. You know what? I need to unhide my blockout because the blockout phase. What I do during blockout is I decide how big does the room need to be. That's kind of locked. Obviously, it's not a hard lock, meaning I can still play around with the scale, but I already sort of figured out that this is a good scale for what I want. There's enough depth in the room so that when the player walks from exiting this room across, there's some nice parallax that happens there. So I do want to try to stick to the scale. So let me go back. I'm going to hide this block out room and let's just start sort of building it out. I have my floor there at the height that matches the block out. And the first thing I'm going to do is just start laying down some walls. So we're going to take these two. We're just going to clone these, rotate. I'm still getting used to Unreal rotation, I'm used to Blender. I love Blender. I'm used to hitting R, a number, and it just rotates. Maybe there's a quick way to do it in Unreal and I don't know about. Let me see. The environment art is nice. I'm sorry, I'm reading a question from Constance. It's an FPS map. How did you handle collision? The fab assets will already have colliders, but what about the colliders for the aura generator assets? So typically, like for example, for these, let's just show collision on this. It's just using simple collision, right? It's a wall. It's using a convex hole just to make simple colliders here. And for now, that's good enough for a first pass art. Obviously, this needs to go through a refinement phase where if the wall is super important that when you fire, a bullet trace needs to hit precisely, then if you can afford it, you use complex collision as simple, or you have someone make custom colliders for this. In this case, for this room specifically, since the room is a periphery room, meaning the player will never traverse or travel through it or have to step through it, we probably don't even need collision. That would be wasteful. But yeah, no, that is a great question. Collision is super important. So yeah, hopefully that answers the question. So yeah, let's just keep building here. I'm gonna pull this here. I'm gonna just do a quick pass at trying to build this. I already have like a pre-built half section of it that I will eventually cut to because I'm gonna run out of time if I get into my environment artist mode and I want everything to be perfect. But yeah, let's just try to knock this out fairly quickly. Some of these gantry posts are constructed out of these two elements, these three elements that were generated by Aura, and then I just kind of put them, combine them together, and then Control G to group them. So we're gonna take this. Looking back, by the way, I have this reference image on another window. I'm constantly looking at this as I build. This is our key piece that you have to always be referencing. It doesn't mean this is a hard lock or you have to stick to it, but it is important, right? If this is what you decided to go with, it is your guiding light forward. So yeah, I just wanted to pop this up to show how we're mixing some of these elements here. So I'm just going to rotate this here and just start kind of putting this together here. So I want this to be kind of like a divider between the walls. Just going to nudge that there. In the reference image, there seems to be a door. You can see the door here on the side. So that's a cool element. Why is that a cool element? Oh, where did my Unreal go? Here we go. Because anytime you bring in environment art, it's super important to bring elements that when you look at it, you know what the scale of the room is. Scale is huge when it comes to environment art. If you do not nail scale, things are gonna look unrealistic. Oh wait, I forgot to pull the door there. Let me just grab this door. You know what? I'm sorry. I'm gonna pivot it real quick. I do want to kick off a generation. This door, if you notice, I'm kind of, this door right here is composed of this door. I just scaled it down, but let's try to make a proper door for this element here. So what I'm gonna do, I think I have an image of that. Where is it? Assembly walls. Oh, here's the chat where I actually developed these walls with Aura. We generated all of these, and the way I generate these images, you notice they're like nicely rendered, not much shadows in the image, rendered against a white background. Aura skills are extremely powerful and helpful, and I highly recommend you leverage them. What is an Aura skill? An Aura skill is basically just a text document, a markdown document that gives Aura a set of instructions. For example, I was generating images and I found myself constantly asking, render it against a plain white background with no shadows at a nice front to 3/4 angle, perfect for 3D model generation. And every time I was prompting for an object, I was filling in that prompt. So instead of doing that, I said, hey, Aura, can we just make a skill so that I can just do slash. You can see the skills. As soon as you type in slash, the skills that you've made with Aura will pop up, right? I have 3 of them that I've made. I have one that's called dynamic mesh to static, which is a skill that helps me convert a dynamic mesh actor into a static mesh actor, save it in a specific directory, give it a specific name. And then the one that I'm using for these images here is the model gen image. The description says, generate a reference image optimized for 3D model generation, a single isolated subject on a pure white or transparent background, soft shadowless studio light. So to generate these images, I use that. So you go / model gen image, that's the image, and you ask for whatever it is that you want to make. So in this case, we're going to say, make me an image of a perfect hanger door for this door frame. And I am going to, let's just do this the quick way. I'm just going to take a screenshot again, because I want to push this context back up to Aura. So I'm just taking the screenshot so I have it in my copy paste, and then I'm just going to hit paste. So now I'm using my skill model gen image, make me an image of a perfect hanger door for this door frame, and I give it the door frame, and let's just send it and let Aura cook that up while we continue to Cetrus. Are the mesh game ready? The meshes, no, they're not game ready. Okay, so Aura generates models at different levels, right? You can say use V3, which is going to give you a very high poly model, which most of these are. But in this case, I'm using Nanite to break them down and make them quote unquote game ready. They're usable, the level plays, they don't break. At the end of the day, if you're making a giant game and your occlusion culling isn't great and you need to be optimal, yes, you're going to have to go in there and either bake down this high poly into a lower poly, or we have an Aura P1 model generation that you can say use a low poly or P1, and it will make a more game ready model. The details are not as great, and sometimes holes appear. But if you're making a small prop like a lamp, like for instance, this was a P1 model, it's not, if you get up close, it's not great. But for a lamp that's going to be looked at from a distance, it's totally fine. And in this model here, it's I would consider it game ready in terms of efficiency and poly count. So yeah, hopefully that answers the question. So Aura's cooking the door here. You can see it is starting to generate that door. I'm just gonna sort of minimize this. And where were we? Yeah, I want doorway and these two things. You can see this one up here is just the mirrored version of this. We're gonna take these three. You know what? Let's construct it here. I'm just gonna put these down because I want these on top of each other like that. Where's the middle there? And I'm just gonna group. I'm gonna quickly group this. Oh wait, I want the door too. Or you know what? I don't want the door. We're gonna use the new door that Aura is currently working on. I will generate that model after. So we have this here. Let me quickly group that. Now I'm gonna make a clone. We're gonna take this over, rotate it. Now I am building like environment art. A lot of environment art, especially rooms like this, are very much mirrored. Like if we go back to our reference image, the left and the right are pretty much the same, right? It's a mirror image. So when you're building environments like this, you want to build half. Once half is complete, you can mirror that half to the other side and then take elements from one side or the other, add a sign, break event, do something that breaks up that mirroring effect. But ultimately, a lot of environment art is just the mirror. You know what, characters too. So for efficiency's sake, that's a very, very important thing to keep in mind when you're building things, and don't try to build both sides unless they're very much unique. So now I have that piece there. Oh, did we finish? It still generated the image here. Yeah, I think I asked for a high quality image. That's why. Okay, so we have that. We have that. We're gonna take this here, clone this over again. Okay, so we have those two, and then I made a corner panel which is already grouped. This panel here is constructed out of similar parts. You can see I just sort of scaled them. You can tell when something's scaled because anything that's supposed to be a circle or a perfect square gets skewed. In this case, not a big deal. It's a periphery environment. Nobody will get up close. When you're looking at it, like when you're building something like this as periphery, always go back to your shot. Like, where is this looked at? Like, where's this seen from? From this angle. Nobody will ever look at it from this angle. So if there's ever a gap or something that doesn't look perfect, as long as it's not visible from this angle, it's totally fine. I love working on periphery pieces just for that. You can make it look really good from a specific angle. Okay, so we have those. We're starting to get the room built. The reason I made this angle piece because the original blockout, I'm not going to bring it back up, but the original blockout was a box. Having an angled wall like this gives it a cool, a different shape, right? It gives it a better silhouette. And now we're going to take this pre-made, this is grouped as well out of multiple pieces that is kitbashed. But yeah, this door here is kind of our central element that's extremely important to get right in terms of the center of the room. Now, why is that important? Because the center of the room is what's going to drive your mirror effect and also the view. So in order to get that right, I'm going to just, what do I want my center to be? I want my center to be the center of that window. So I'm going to pull it. You can see we're not centered. So this needs to we're just going to eyeball this. And I'm using these lines here to have an equidistant space to the left and to the right. So we'll say there. Now that I matched it, we're going to pull this now back to line it up there. And then we can see that all of these elements here should probably get pushed back a little bit. Let's see. We'll pull this back. I'm trying to see here. Yeah, we need to pull this back just a little bit here. And as you start building, right? Oh wait, our door is complete. So here's the door. I could keep prompting and be like, well, you didn't cut the angles to match the door. Kind of a cool door though. I think that's good. I like it. I'm gonna hit import so it imports into our images. And then I'm just gonna follow this up and say, let's see. yeah, I'm gonna say generate. I'm trying to think of what the simplest prompt here is without overdoing it. I have a tendency to over prompt certain things. Let's just go and say generate a model of this sci-fi door image, and that's it. Do I want to give it a scale? No, I don't. We're just gonna say that. Generate model of this sci-fi door image that you just made. Or should know, oh yeah, you're talking about the one that we just made. So I'm gonna hit send and let's see how that goes. So yeah, continue building as that cooks. Let's continue building. One thing I want to touch on real quick. I talked about scale. Scale is huge. I mean, I always bring this up. A lot of like new developers or people that are building tend to forget about scale. You notice I have this mannequin here. I put mannequins all throughout my level, especially during the blockout phase. It's scale is king for all of this, right? For something periphery, you can get away with skewing a little bit, but for the sake of this, I'm just gonna show you guys. I'm gonna bring this in, drop it to the floor, and then I just like to drag it by a doorway, right? Because we said doorway is what's gonna determine the scale. Does that match? Yep, that looks good. We'll copy another dude here to this doorway. This doorway is meant to be huge because we're supposed to be dragging in whatever the giant mecha parts. But yeah, use it doesn't have to be the mannequin. It could be whatever character model it is that's going to be running through your level. Make clones of it throughout. It just helps. It helps a ton. I see so many people that don't do this, and then when they finish their environment, nothing feels at scale and things look off. Okay, so we're cooking here. We have half the room starting to look good. There were some panels that I had. Well, let's get some of the ceiling. I'm building this really quickly. I have one, like I said, I already pre-built this at one point, and I have it somewhere. I'll unhide it right now, and I'll use that one instead because that one I know I already took the time to make sure that things were aligned right. So this needs to go here. And again, center. We want our center. I'm only building half. So right now for me, the center is this halfway door. So I'm going to use the seam of this door to just make sure that this is aligned right there. And then we're going to just bring it back up. I'm creating a gap here between the panels and the ceiling, because if we look back at our reference, it's hard to tell here, but these rooms probably have a bunch of cabling and wiring and structural elements that go dark. So I just want to create that buffer there so that we can fill in the gap and it can transition in from this brighter area to a darker above in the ceiling. So yeah, we have that piece there. We have this piece here. We're just going to put those two there. And we might need to scale it. That doesn't cover. I'm just going to take these two, scale them out a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect. It can overlap. And now we need to fill that gap. I have these other panels. Where are they? There was like similar to these. It was this guy here and this guy here. We're going to take these and start putting it here. As I build this, I'm just curious in chat, how many of you are environment artists and how many of you are other disciplines or even game developers? I'm just curious about what people in the chat do. I'm going to align this. I need to make sure I align this back to my center. Again, I'm just eyeballing it. I need to make sure I don't get too caught up with this. And then you kind of start taking this, clone a few. This is where I miss Blender, where you can just quickly array things by hitting Control R and it just repeats the last thing. Maybe Unreal has something like that and I just don't know about it. I could probably ask Aura and it'll tell me. I don't want to get into the weeds with that though. Yeah, so now we have those two. I'm going to group this. I'm going to group these because now that I have them and I like them, if I ever have to shift them around, I don't want them to get shifted on group. There's a little gap there. Just bring that down. Okay, and then this back area, the player will never see it, but we do want to cap it in case there's a sunlight. If like this is a day scene, you want to cast shadows from the sun. That's where I have these two panels. I think these are the ones. Let's just take these. See, I don't need to rotate this, but I'm gonna do it just because my OCD is taking over and it needs to look okay. So now we're just gonna cap this. This is just to seal off any holes that just leak out into the world. So started in level are awesome. I'm still learning UE5, but Aura seems amazing. Awesome. I'm a game producer, so this environment was like magic to me. Awesome. Hey, I love the fact that this brings value. Please ask questions. There's a couple of mods helping me out to answer. But yeah, I'll try to answer anything I can here. Okay, so we have kind of half the room going here. It's not looking bad. I think what we need to do... Oh, wait, did we generate the model? No. No, I think I didn't pass in the reference image, or maybe I did. Let me find the image that we just imported. It's this one right here. For the sake of keeping this thread clean, I'm just gonna say, I'm just gonna ask to generate a model of this image. Generate a model. Oh, cap locks. Generate a model of this image. I'm not gonna describe it. Misspelling, you'll see I misspell a bunch. It's fine, or it doesn't care. It does a great job at figuring out what your intent was. Generate model of this image. That's it. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna give it a description, nothing, no name. Yeah, I'm gonna kick that off and see how that goes. We have half the room. Let's see here. What should we do next? I think we should start. Like, I'm liking the way that's feeling. The space feels good. The scale feels good. I think what we should do now is let's start bringing in our hero POI, point of interest, which is the mecha head. I have this head. So this head here is the one that I use for the mecha inside the main room. It's the same one here, right? This dude here. I already had one, so I'm gonna use that. I put it here for scale. Let me just share the thread because I already spent some time trying to develop this thread this morning with Aura. What I did was, since the room is supposed to be an assembly room, and if we go back to our reference, this image here, you'll notice that like the head is kind of in partial production, right? There's some panels missing with exposed innards, which is really cool. Like this was the striking image that got my attention. So we want to replicate that. So what I did is I started a thread asking and using my model image skill to generate the reference. I gave it my original image and I said, hey, you know what? Like, I want you to make a version of this head that's more exposed. Feel free to change the style. And Aura generated this one, which is like, okay, that's going somewhere. I don't necessarily like it. To me, that looks like a bike for some reason, like a bike spoke or a bike pedal, or I don't know. And also these cables are getting cut in the frame. They look too unorganic. But that's fine. Like, oh wait, our model's importing. What model did we? Oh, the door. It should be coming in. When this is happening, it's Unreal's going through the import process of the mesh. There it is. It's really dark. Let's move it out. So there's the door it made. It created, it's not bad, not too bad. If I wanted better detail for this door, what I would do probably is only make half. Since it needs to use a single texture atlas for the entire door, you're gonna lose resolution and it gets a little crunchy. For the purposes of this, I'm not gonna go through that process. But yeah, the idea here would be like, I would generate a new image of just half or maybe a quarter. If you notice, this mirrors up and down, left and right. And then I would generate that, which would give me a higher detail. It's the same exact thing that I did for the mecha, right? Like, I initially generated a mecha, a full body mecha, and the resolution wasn't great. I'm not going to waste time showing that, but the resolution wasn't great. So then what I did is I broke the mecha. Do I have that chat? I don't think I have that thread, but I broke it into parts. And then I generated each part individually, which gave me more detail. And then I reassembled the mecha myself. So you can see the mecha is composed of, actually, I can show you the generated images. I think that'll be better. You can see we made the head, we made the torso, we made one arm and mirrored it. We made a leg. And then I think I was having issues with like the hip. So I had to make a skirt. Where is it at? Some like hip parts here. Like, I think this is the one that I went with. But yeah, at the end, what you do is you kitbash it, you put it together, and you have a nicer, higher resolution model that Aura generated. For the purposes of this, we're just going to stick to this one we made. I'm just going to kind of smash it in here. I mean, even at this state, that doesn't look bad. But for the sake of using the entire door, I'm just going to scale this down and scale it to fit a little bit better to show me that element. Does it have the black on that side? Yeah, so we want to show both sides. Yeah, there we go. So we have a door now. Let me take a look at chat. If I need to create a procedural level in the style of Peak, but it has to include a path that's passable by a cart, what do you recommend? Like, oh, that is a loaded question. I'll let one of the mods try to answer that one. I'm going to try to stay on topic. But yeah, I mean, I think your question is like, it's a broad question. I would just break that down into parts, right? Maybe even create a little document, art document to break it down. And then I would build that piece by piece. I wouldn't try to one-shot the entire thing. As much as Aura likes to try to do it for you, the results are not going to be great. You have to work in parts, right? And build elements piece by piece. I highly recommend you do that. Okay, so we have our door. Back to our hero element, right? So we made this one. I wasn't happy with it. I said, hey, can we just try different heads? And so it started making me different heads. We iterated on this with a couple of different ones. None of these were really vibing with me. I wasn't really feeling it. Too colorful for the room. I wanted something more like if this is in production assembly, the head's probably not fully painted. So I wanted it to also be fairly white. I went back to the one that I liked and I said, hey, you know what? This is a head I want to do. Please, can we start iterating on this and give me a version of it that's partially built? And then Aura made this one, which is okay. That's going somewhere. I'm not sure I'm liking these like squiggly cables. But the idea of like taking this crown piece and detaching it is cool. So I said, great. And then I used my skill, the skill render parts. And that skill here, what's the description of that skill? Render parts. It says take one reference image of an object and render, it takes one reference image of an object and renders separate images for each of the logical parts. So for that large mech, when we were doing the factory environment, this is the image that I gave it. I said, I made this one with Aura as well. We made this one, and then I used my render parts, and I said, what I need is a head, a torso, an arm, and it generated the images that I just previously showed using that skill. So again, skills are powerful. We should probably do a whole stream on skills. I don't want to get too lost into that. But in short, if you want to make a skill, literally ask Aura, hey, make me a skill that does X, Y, Z, and it'll tell you whether it can make the skill and if it'll work. And you can just go back and forth, try the skill and keep refining it. So yeah, I use the skill to take this head, break it into parts. I asked for a couple of pieces. So it gave me this piece, which I think it said it was part of the chin. I don't know, but it's cool. It's a cool piece. These cables, and maybe not so good. If I generate a model of this, how often are you going to see 4 cables in line like that? So this was the one that I was like, okay, this is it. I love this head. We need to make this. This is our main piece. And then I can take this, and then this is supposed to be an earpiece. Here's the crown, which this one here I already made. You can see the part right here. So that's that piece. this piece right here is the chin piece. This is this one. I just rotated it because for me, when I saw it, it looks like it could be like an ear cover. So, yeah, I to respond. Let me see. Did somebody ask a question? Oh wait, somebody asked about the door that I generated had holes in it, I think. Yeah, I mean, how would I fix that? Well, I would just generate another one, you know? I would literally just generate another one. It's kind of like spinning the wheel. I know it costs tokens. If you think about it though, the cost of what it is versus what it used to be and the hours it used to take for me to make a block out version of just the door for ideation, yeah, just generate another one. Eventually you'll get something good. And maybe if it's failing, it could be that the image source was not good enough. So make another image, then make another model. You just have to iterate. So yeah, back to the head. I made those parts. I made these two pieces. I don't think I made this one, but what I do want to do is I want to make this head, which I haven't made. This was the one that I did want to cook up live. Let's start a new thread. And where is that head image? Here it is. Excuse me. So yeah, here's the image. It has enough detail. I think this will end up being pretty good. I'm gonna pass it in as context, drag it in there. If you're using embedded Aura with an Unreal, you can drag and drop it. If not, you use the attach button and you can find it in your file system somewhere and then, you know, attach the image. So I pass the image in and then I'm going to ask it to generate a model of this mecha head image. The reason I describe it, even though it can see it itself, is by me saying mecha head, it gives Aura some context as to what the head is for. Because if it just sees the head, it might think, oh, it's a head of a 6-foot character. By me saying mecha, it's gonna know, that's a bigger head. So I'm gonna scale it to be bigger when I generate it. But if I wanna be more prescriptive about that, I'm gonna say it should be about 10 feet tall. And then let's name it, because this is another thing that I think is super important. I'm tedious about naming things. So name it Mecha Assembly Head 01. Terrible name, but that's fine. Okay, generate a model of this mecha head image. It should be about 10 feet tall. Name it Mecha Head Assembly General 1. I'm not going to tell it where to save it. It's going to save it in the generic generated models directory that I already have. And hit enter. And let's let Aura cook that up for us. And I will minimize that as it processes. And let's just continue building this out. I think at some point I'm going to pivot to the version that I already have done because I don't want to waste all my time. Yeah, you know what? Let's build a little bit more. As that cooks, I'm going to use this placeholder head in the meantime, just so that we can start framing where it's going to be. I'm going to put it in the middle of our room. Remember, middle of the room is important. I'm not going to mirror the head, but if this head is supposed to enter this assembly room through this giant hangar door, they'd probably have it on a crane that comes through here. So it should be down center. And my idea is that I'm going to hang it down center of this. I'm going to put a crane here where it's hanging off some hooks. And then if I go here and raise it, I'm just kind of looking at framing for the shot. I think that's good. I might want it a little bit more forward, but I'm not gonna overdo it. We have that, and then we have these two crane pieces that I want to. These are from that factory asset pack, by the way. I can generate these with Aura. I found these free assets on Fab. Definitely leverage that, especially when the assets are really good. Not everything needs to be generated. I think what you do, the work that you put in is making sure that the pieces you generate blend in well with the pieces that you didn't generate, right? And you can iterate on that as much as you want. So yeah, I'm just kind of piecing these two pieces together. This is composed in two parts. Just gonna start framing where I want this. And in order for me to truly know where this this crane is gonna go. There's this other piece that I found from that asset pack. It was like a factory floor assembly line thing. And this beam here, I need the beam to be aligned perfectly. So I'm gonna go top-down view real quick and make sure that this beam doesn't cut off, because when we mirror it, if this beam is offset, our mirror is not gonna work as expected. So now that those are okay, I'm gonna take those both, group them so they're always together, just grab one of them, and we're gonna just bring this into our space. Let me just check on chat. So true. Actually, here's one thing I found. Generating models is asking Aura first for reference images for the model generation. What background for? Yeah, absolutely. Like, it's not. Yeah, I typically don't go into generating models on a plain description only, because at that point you're rolling the dice, right? So we're just gonna put this in. Oh yeah, time check. Oof. Yeah, time is flying by. Okay, I'm gonna have to cut. I'm gonna have to bring in the pieces that I already pre-made, because this is gonna take me a lot longer. Or is importing. Ooh, there's our mech head. Let's just pull it out. Or just finish making it. Let's just put it into the shot. How did it come out? Oh, look at that. It nailed the scale. Looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. Let me. Oh, did I just delete it by accident? Where is it at? Let me pull it in. Where did it save it? Sorry, I'm looking for the model that it just made. Here it is. Okay. So yeah, it just made the model. It was able to do the scale that I wanted. Let's just dump this. We don't need this one anymore. Yeah, the model looks pretty good. It nailed the exposed pieces that I wanted, the side pieces that I wanted. The detail's good enough for the distance that we're going to be showing it. So yeah, let's put the head here. I am going to have to I need to find the geo I made already. I made all of this. I already built using the parts. I want to just show you all the real process of doing it. But for the purposes of time, where do I have it? Assembly comp. I know I put it in here somewhere. Did I move it by accident? Oh, look, it's over here. Cool. We don't want this mech head. We don't want this cable. But we do want all of this. You can see I already assembled. It's basically what I was assembling, taking the remainder of these parts, the lights, this elevator piece, which I made half with Aura. The bottom portion is from the Fab Store asset, and this little crevice where the crane is gonna go. It goes there and it goes up and down, just like our reference image. So let's just bring this into the shot. I'm gonna use this because I know this is already assembled properly, and I am running out of time here. So C comp. Let me select all. God, there's so many shortcuts that I wish I knew off the top of my head, or even if they exist. Yeah, let's just move this over to where the other one is. Before we do, we're just gonna nuke everything we built. Sorry, dude, I built you, but you have to leave. We have a better version of it. I wish there was a better way to delete all this. I'm going piece by piece because I want to make sure I don't delete something that I don't want to get caught off by surprise here and delete something that's not supposed to be deleted. We're just gonna nuke these parts here. We'll take this. I think the door, do I have it as part of, yeah, I already have that there. So we're just gonna dump this as well. The reason it's asking, I have this all in groups. So, oh, even the floor, I already had the floor. Our new friendly door though, we will keep, even though I have this door that's made of a different piece. I'm gonna quickly, let's use our new door. Why not? Let's use our new door. I'm gonna unlock the group so I can delete this part. And, oh, I have two of them? Wait, what did I do there? I want to make sure I don't delete something that I wasn't expecting to delete. Oh, I do have duplicates. I have duplicates there. Why do we have duplicates? I don't know. We're doing it live. We're doing it live. That's what happens when you do things live. Somehow that got duplicated twice. So I'm just doing a little bit of cleanup. If anybody has questions, feel free to ask. We can answer as needed. I'm just deleting some of these duplicates that I don't know how we cloned by accident. Okay, I'm gonna... Yeah, let's just move this a little bit here so I can dump this guy. And now we have most of our props. There's probably a bunch of duplicates here, but I'm not gonna worry too much about it. I'm gonna just select this all again. Select children, and let's just get it in place. Right. Oh wait, we still have a couple of things to delete here. We're not going to delete the head. We're going to delete this. Apply all. And now we have a clean slate except for our door, which we'll see if we use or not. And back to selecting our assembly part pieces. Immediate children. Nope, that's the wrong one. Assembly comp. Select immediate children. All right. Let's get this back into position because I do want to show the mirror element here and then get into putting lights. And again, there's already some lights here. You can see I have some lights, and I will turn off the main sunlight in a bit just so we can start getting a sense for the real mood of the space. Back here, I'm gonna go quickly unlit so I can make sure that we are center. Or we center back to our door. I'm grabbing the whole thing here because I do want to make sure that this is centered. The reason this matters is because that view from the window side is important to have this at least at a good position so that when you walk through it, it's in the proper position. I think that's good. I think we're good. If we look at back here, let's go back to lit. Deselect. That's looking cool. I already had added this VFX prop by these vents. Start giving it some mood. Let's see. I placed one of these. What else needs to happen? I think I might have some duplicates here still. I'm trying to just clean some of this up because when I mirror it, I don't want to mirror the wrong thing. Yeah, this is duplicate. Apply to all. We're getting there. We're getting there. It's starting to look cool. I think we're fulfilling the goal of giving this a first pass art for a periphery room. It's looking pretty good. These aren't duplicate, right? Oh, they are. My goodness. I must have cloned everything at some point. The floor. Nope. All right. I think we're good. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to quickly mirror it just to seal off our room. So I want to select all the elements that are going to be mirrored. That. The walls or the walls attached to the door. Yeah, we're going to do that. That light is not attached, but I don't care. That's fine. We can copy that ourselves. That. I think that's everything. I'm just gonna shift it so I can make sure that that's... Oh, nope, we're missing something. Yep, we're missing that wall here. So we have half a shell here. That seems to be everything. That looks correct. Okay, so the mirror tool is something that Aura helped me discover in Unreal. I had no idea Unreal could do this, which is awesome. Maybe Unreal's been doing this for years and I'm just the noob about it. But if you go to modeling tools, which is up here, or you hit Shift 5, pops open modeling tools. Under model, there's a mirror. Yeah, there it is, mirror. I already have it in my favorites. And when you hit it, it's basically going to mirror along the furthest axis plane of the geometry you have selected along one of the axes. So I hit mirror. It's probably... Oh, I should have hit save first. That was dangerous. I did not save. Unreal can sometimes crash, but you can see that it just mirrored everything across. But before we do that, what I need to... I see why I had a clone. What we want to do first is hit Control D to make a clone. And then we're going to mirror it. There we go. And look at that. We have a full room now that's mirrored. sealed. There's a little bit of light leak there. I'm not too concerned because we're going to turn off the sun. We can put a blocker back there. But yeah, the room is there. It's mirrored. We go back to our angle. I haven't committed the mirror. I got to make sure the settings, delete input. Yep, from input. The keeping new objects. Yep, I need to do this. When I first ran the mirror tool the first time, I had it set to input objects, which will overwrite the meshes that you have, which is not what we want in this case. Before I commit, I'm gonna hit save in case Unreal. Oh, did I just save at the wrong moment? Nope, come on. Come on, Unreal, pedal. Pedal, pedal. Sure. Sure. Oh, why are you? Why? Wow. We're just gonna hit enter. Nope, we can't hit enter. We gotta click. What is it saying? Oh, it's because everything's grouped. Okay, it's saved. It committed the mirror. We're safe. Woohoo! We're good. Everything in this room was AI generated and Unreal Engine. No, it was not. It's a mixture of AI generated assets and a Fab Store asset pack that it's in the description. But most of these walls, like all of these walls, these gantry pieces, this head, are aura generated. The other thing that's aura generated, and you know what, this goes perfectly into the next thing that I was gonna do. Aura helped me make a decal material. If you don't know what a decal material is, you can look it up, but it's essentially a projected material that projects an image down. And for all the line work, we're using decal materials, including this patch here. I used Aura to help me create a decal material. Yeah, and it made me a procedural one that I can adjust to tweak the line. Should we open it? I don't think I have too much time. Maybe that's another video. But yeah, what I want to do now is, now that we have a mirror, let's just kind of wrap up this room. We got to wrap it up. I'm gonna pull these lines over here. Line work, here's environment art tip. Line work in a room like this for the ground, extremely important, right? It tells the story of how the room operates. Like this hazard line here, super important, right? Like if this room was real, they would probably paint this to tell you like, hey dude, you don't stand there when the door's opening. It's a hazard area. These doors are gonna swing open and knock you over. Or like forklift driver, don't park your forklift here, dude, because these doors this needs to stay clear. If we wanted to take this further, we'd probably do like a keep clear sign, another decal on top. But yeah, line work is important, right? Like once you start putting line work in a room, you start seeing how the room develops, what the story of the room is. For example, our little elevator bit here, I added these decals around it, right? These hazard decals around it because it's a mechanical part, right? For the workers, it's like, hey, hazard, dude, don't put your arm there. It's gonna get smashed. This goes up and this goes up and down. So yeah, just doing a bit of line work. Now, what we're missing here is we're gonna take this. Is this grouped already? Yep. We're just gonna duplicate this because if we go back to our reference, this was the element we liked, so we want to kind of mimic this. So we have our two elevators here, and that's good enough right there. And to make it a little bit more dynamic, we're gonna make one of them like it's up in the air higher, one maybe that's down, just to frame the shot. We go back to our shot here, and the player would look at it like this. You know what? Actually, I want it the other way. I want this one down, and this one up a little bit halfway, just because now your first view, if I had that up, it was going to block that head. This is looking better here. This hook is completely not in the right spot. If we're going to say this is hooked onto it and holding the head here. Oh, and you know what? We forgot our parts. Let's bring in these two pieces because I think these are cool elements. These three elements, all these three models here were generated by Aura. I love how these cables came out. Really cool asset. We use it in the main hangar as well. I'm gonna take these, bring them into our room, and let's just take the crown piece, put it on his head a little bit, just kind of eyeball it. It's not supposed to be attached. I like the idea of this chunk being just slightly offset, slightly tilted, not fully attached, so that it's like kind of in production. Skew it a little bit so it's not perfect. And then this piece, I said earlier, I wanted it to be kind of an earpiece, so I'm just gonna bring it in to that part of the ear like it's an earpiece that's would cover. And since it has those cool internals, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna kind of skew it like it's not fully on there. It was in the process of being attached. Given more time, I'd probably put another crane here or something to have like a worker or another hook that's holding that, suspending that. For now, that's fine. So that's looking cool. I'm gonna take these 3 pieces and just I don't like that it's so perfect straight. Like if something's hanging and it's heavy, there's more weight on this side because of the piece. So just let's just like tilt it just slightly, and then moving it the wrong way. Just center it a little bit, and now I'm gonna get these hooks and sell how they're suspended and they're being gripped on the hook. Again, periphery room doesn't have to be perfect. We're just kind of eyeballing it. So it's gonna hook there, but the hook needs to connect. And look, I'm starting to get into my environment artist mode where like things need to be right. And that's good enough right there. Slightly angled, it looks like it's hooked on. The one in the back, I mean, you probably want 2 cranes there. This is more filler. They'll never see this. So what we want to do is go back to our view, make sure, can you see that back piece? Yeah, you sort of can. I'm just gonna pop it up a little bit more just so that it's visible from the angle that we have. Yeah, that's looking cool. And then our cable, I want this coming out from the bottom of the head. I'm just gonna plop that in there, clink, rotate it. That's cool, but let's look at it. Actually, that's not great right there. If we look at it from here, the silhouette, I don't like the silhouette there. So let's just look at this view. I'm gonna rotate it to get a bit more, maybe scale it down a little bit. It's too big. And yeah, I'm just trying to get that super nice model. Try to get a better silhouette for it, right? So you can see it. Now if I select it, yeah, there we go. We're cooking now. We have a room. I didn't get into lighting, but yeah, these lights I had added earlier. I'm trying to hit the hero asset with the front light there. And then we have another underside light just to have it catch some light from the underside. And then these lights back here do some automatic lighting using Lumen, which is fantastic. Lumen is incredible, especially in UE 5.8. I've been able to just drop a ton of lights with no problem. Now you probably want that here. You really won't see that. You'll catch a glimpse of it. That'll be attached. And then I think I want some more of this smoke. Oh, you know, we already have one here. Like one of the cool things in the blockout was like these smoke plumes were kind of set in front here, and they were just within the frame, so that when you walk through the glass, you get this sense of like, why is there smoke there? Like, is it a cold room? Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but it does tell the story, right? Like maybe the room has to be cold to maintain the mech parts. I don't know. I'm making shit up now at this point, but yeah, you tell yourself stories. It's important to tell these stories, and it helps you develop what the room is going to be. So yeah, that's looking pretty cool. Why isn't this one visible? Because the light needs to hit it probably, or do I need to rotate it? Not gonna spend too much. There we go. Yeah, the light. I think the light's not catching it. So let's just lower this to see if light bring it back a little bit. Yeah, I can spend a lot longer on this, but I think this kind of proves out the process. Oh yeah, that light leak. Let's turn off our sunlight. This is gonna be the big. Our sun right now is kind of killing the lighting. I had a sunlight here, directional light. Boom. Turn that off. So it's dark outside. We don't have any light bleeding. And yeah, the room is looking cool. Go game mode. That's looking cool. I think what I would want to do next, which I'm not going to do in this video, in this live stream, is probably centrist this hallway a little bit more with some of the elements from here, just so that it ties these two together. I would think there might be some monitors or something on this window. Like if you come here, you might want to look at diagnostics for the head. But yeah, we have a assembly room assembled. I think the mission has been accomplished here. I want to go ahead, like, if anybody has questions, feel free, questions, comments, whatever, feel free to shoot them over now. I can spend a few minutes answering questions as best as I can. This collision nav mesh isn't built. I'm not gonna, let's go into play mode. Let's just do it live. Let's see what this feels like. Okay, so yeah, this is our play mode, character scale. Oh, what's going on? Look at the blockout. I see why. The blockout's just hidden. So let's take this blockout geometry. Actually, this is a good juxtaposition here. So blockout there, blockout gone. I didn't get into blockout. I used Aura, a level design agent, to block out some rooms. I like that it builds rooms to scale, and then I go in there and edit them myself. But yeah, I didn't have time to block out. Might be its own live stream, to be honest. But yeah, I'm gonna take this blockout geometry. Do we want to delete it all? And you know what? I'm just gonna nudge it all the way below for the sake of the shot. All right, cool. So blockout's gone. Hit save. Don't forget to save. Always save your work. Hit play. And yeah, we're here. We're in the room. There's our space. Animation can come. That thing could be moving. There could be some sirens. There could be some worker characters working in there. You get the shot. And then that's the first cookie reveal of what the level is. And then, yeah, you're supposed to go in here, come into the room, and then we have the big room here where you go in. Oh, there's an enemy and he's frozen because nav mesh is broken. Oh, these guys are attacking me. So it does sort of work. It's a little bit broken state right now. You come in here, you can hover. There's some drones that are attacking. You get the idea. I'm not going to keep playing that. I think we're going to make a longer form video of the entire process for this entire level. And yeah, hopefully this was informative to everyone. Really appreciate everybody tuning in. If there are any questions, wait, did we group this? I just want to do something real quick because it's kind of like, I love, once you set dress something and you can group them, it's cool to just be like, oh yeah, and then you can, oh wait, I grouped the wrong pieces. You can sort of like move them around how you would expect them to move. And the cables, nope, that's why I'm grabbing the wrong stuff here. Why can't I grab those cables? Interesting. Struggling to grab those cables. But yeah, I like to group things. Once they're grouped, you can easily see how this would animate along that gantry. Oh, I had two of them. Forgot this piece. You can see how this would like the shot would open. Maybe this is coming in, moving along, stops, clink, and then maybe later moves, a piece falls off. I don't know. Just trying to tell an environmental story. Yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed. If there are any questions, does anybody have any questions? I can hang out for a little bit longer, but if not, I will end the stream here. I wonder if you have any suggestions on post-processing and UE to make it more thematic, cinematic. This still feels like default UE game. Sure, I hear you. Adjusting lighting. Lighting does a lot of stuff. There's a lot of post-processing work. Carlo can probably, our art director has helped with a lot of lighting. Do a bunch, like add LUTs or color grading to make it look different. You can change your shaders to make them look different. So yeah, that's one way of doing it. And let me see. I'm looking through chat to see if there's any other questions. Can auto rig models for animation? Yeah, it auto rigs models. There'll probably be a whole video for rigging and animation that we will do down the line. I think if you tune in and subscribe to our channel, we're gonna try to do more of these and cover blueprint generation, gameplay mechanics, see if we can get into some C++, and try to cover. I mean, feel free to comment. What would you guys like to see? To be honest, that'll help us figure out what we can show. This was fantastic. I hope you all enjoyed. What's the best aura trick? Best aura trick? I would say use skills. Make skills. They're powerful. Try them out. They're super powerful. create multiplayer game. What's the best way to create a multiplayer game with Aura? Definitely don't try to one-shot that. I would start with using maybe the gas project and then work from there. Post-processing, I'm just scrolling through chat, see if I miss anything. There's a whole system for color coding already designed, mostly military, like the white lines. Yep, that's true. There's a smart idea, markdown docs. For decal work like that, I've been developing a reference sheet. Fantastic. This is awesome. All right, I'm going to end the stream here. Thank you all for joining. I hope this was valuable. I hope everybody learned something, and I definitely enjoyed it. It was a good experience. And yeah, hopefully we can tune in next time. I'm just looking to see any other questions where or skills. Okay. All right. Ending the stream now. Thank you all. Thank you so much. Till next time.